Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing my glasses because I've been finding the last few weeks when I've been trying to read my notes on my iPad that I haven't been able to read them properly. So I'm just going to wear the glasses, and this is how you'll see me if you see me at a market or whatever. So from now on, I'll be making sure I look after my eyes a little bit better and wear my glasses when I video. I just have to figure out the lights. I know there's a little bit of glare, and I'm not sure that I've done a good job moving them around, but it will have to do. I've also managed to style my fringe, which has been really great. I've just had to straighten just the fringe part, and then the rest I've just been letting dry naturally, which is how I prefer to do it. And I'm really, really happy with it. It's been much easier to style straight off the bat than I thought it might have been. And it's the first time that I've had a successful all the way across fringe. So very pleased with my new hair. It feels like it's been quite a productive week. I've got quite a few different things to talk about. Probably not like long stories, but little bits that have happened. I've had a fair bit of motivation this week. The first thing was that I've done some weeding in the garden by the house, getting ready with all that new mulch that we had. So I did some pruning back of the geranium and of the passion fruit vine. There were a few bits that were dead and scraggly. I also pruned one of the rose bushes. It was having those long suckers stick up where they have like hardly any thorns and they don't grow flowers, and they were long and straggly all over the place, and the flowers were actually growing below the level of these bits. So I cut them back, and that looks nice now. So then I was able to lay mulch all the way through that area, and it looks nice and clean and neat and fresh. And hopefully it'll help to make everything grow a lot better because it'll hold moisture and it'll look really great over the summer. The other thing in that garden is, and this is something that I'm both happy and sad about, is that my new rose is doing really well. It's had 2 flowers, but being a tribute to Wade, it's sad and happy. But I'm really pleased that they are growing really well. It's got a beautiful fragrance, and it's right by my door. So whenever I get in and out of the car, I can see it, and it does make me smile. With the sheep being out of their paddock here, we are trying to see if we can recover those poor trees that they ate on numerous occasions. I went down and had a look at them the other day, and I'm really surprised that all 6 have little sprouts on them. So maybe they will recover. They're resilient enough to have withstood some eating and now are going to regrow. Hopefully that means that they will be strong, sturdy trees once they actually get going. So I've put weed matting around each of them and then put a pile of mulch around. We're supposed to be getting some rain this weekend, so hopefully they'll get a good drenching. If not, I'm going to run the hose on them so that they start to get some water, and hopefully that will start to promote their growth. The sheep we're going to keep in the chook and clothesline area for a little bit longer, so we've got some time to figure out how we're going to protect these trees, hopefully in a successful way this time. We're certainly ditching the wire. That my sheep are just too persistent and push through that. So I think what we'll do is keep the star pickets that are there, probably add a few extras, and then put wide panels of wood running across at small gaps in between so that they can potentially eat grass just at the low level and then not be able to stick their heads in as it moves up to protect the actual branches and growth of the tree. We had a look at some options for like pallet kind of fences, so that's kind of the idea we're going with, but with wood that we have here rather than trying to source some pallets. So hopefully that will work. So until then, the sheep will be over near the house in the chook and clothesline area, and to provide them with more water, just this week we moved a bathtub trough that we have, which was just on the other side of the fence. We moved that up and into where they are, so they now have plenty of water. I just had a small bucket in there before that I was having to fill twice a day because they drink a lot of water. But I wasn't sure how long they were going to be in there, and that's why I hadn't really bothered with a more permanent solution. But because we probably will keep them there for a while, given the amount of grass that there is, and that everything out here is not growing, we thought we should give them a more longer term water supply. And so it's a much bigger vessel to begin with. It'll catch rain and it's easier to just refill, and it doesn't have to be done every single day, a couple of times a day. I finally had the energy and the motivation to sort through my yarn tubs, which I'd literally just dumped in here directly after She's Crafty and have hardly really looked at. I have had to go through them to fill orders, and I had to rummage through and try and find the colorways because everything was in multiple different areas and in no way logical, because it never is after you come back from a market. So I printed out my list from Square and I went through and looked at all of the numbers and recounted everything and sorted everything back so all of the colours are together, and I feel much better about that now. So my next phase will be to now decide what colours I'm going to re-dye, potentially retire some colourways or change some things up a little bit, look at what undyed stock I have, and then start my planning for 2024. I have applied for some markets already, so I'm waiting to hear back from those. And I have my 2024 calendar up on the wall, and so I've started penciling in some dates so I can start to see how everything's going to work itself out for the year. But I don't have any real solid plans yet, and I'm going to sort of wait until then to figure out my dye schedule. Probably take a break over Christmas and early in the new year, and then get back into serious yarn dyeing after that. I do have some ideas for some new colorways, and I also have a new yarn base I'd like to try out. I'll probably dye a color for myself and make something, so that's the best way to test it out. So that will be coming in the new year, which I'm quite excited about. And as I firm up where I'll be for markets and workshops, I will share that with you here. And I've even spent quite a bit of time knitting this week. It's been really lovely. So I've been out doing things in the morning, and then as it gets to mid to late afternoon, it starts to get much warmer, and I'll grab myself a cup of tea and I'll go inside and I'll sit and knit for a while, and it's been really nice. So I have worked on socks. I have done another single sock, although I think I might rip out this bind off and add a little bit more because this is quite short, and I think I want to add a little bit of extra to the cuff. And I probably should have done the heel in a different color so I had extra of the yarn, but I didn't even think about it and just kept knitting. So there's that one, which you probably end up going back on the needles and just get a little bit of extra length in it. And I have just put the heel in on another single sock. This is my Grinchy colorway, a Christmas colorway I dyed a few years ago. And with this one, I found just a chocolate brown color to put in for the heel. I don't remember the yarn, but I just had a ball of it sitting around. So I have a tiny little bit, where is it? I have a tiny little bit of the Grinchy left. So I will keep going until I run out of that, see what the length is like of the cuff, and maybe then add a little bit more of this at the top so that it is, again, long enough. But it's been really fun to just pull different colors out of my stash and just throw a sock on and just knit until I run out. And for some reason, that's really sparked my sock knitting mojo, and I don't really know why. So that's my sock knitting. And the other thing I've been working on is something that I put down and I finally picked back up, and that is my Comfy out of the 52 weeks of Easy Knits. I'm doing that out of my DK yarn in the teal not green colorway and my wispy mohair lace yarn in the wildflowers color. And I procrastinated because of the sleeve. I just had to keep trying it on and figuring out the length, and I'd change when I was doing the decreases. So I was having to stop and start all the time, and it wasn't as simple as just reading a pattern and just going, and I had to keep changing the needles so that I could try it on over and over. And so this week I actually got to the point where I'm happy with the sleeve. So I've kind of finished the first sleeve. It's at a length that's now down to just my wrist, which is perfect. I haven't bound off yet. I've changed over to the different color at the end. You can see that there. And I'm going to do a tubular bind off. It's not what it's called for in the pattern, but by the pictures, that's what it looks like. And I did do a tubular cast on at the neck. So I'm going to do tubular bind offs for the rest. So I thought I'd wait and do both of the sleeve tubular bind offs at the same time, just while I'm in the rhythm of doing that. So I have left that on a holder, and I have, now that I've actually happy, I'm now halfway through the second sleeve. And the first sleeve took me an absolute age to do. So I am working away on that. My only concern, I've just added in a new ball of the DK, so I've got plenty of that left. So I'll get the sleeve done for sure, and I can add some extra length to the body. But I only have this little bit of my second 50 grams of the mohair, and I really don't want to crack into a third 50-gram ball. So I'm hoping that there's enough. There is quite a lot in here. So I'm hoping that it'll be enough for the rest of the sleeve and a little bit more of the body. The body's close, so I don't know that there's going to be too many more rounds, but once I've got both the sleeves on, it will lift a little bit. So I just want to make sure that I have enough length that I'm going to be happy with. So I'm really pleased that I'm back on the comfy bandwagon. Obviously, we're getting into warm weather now, so it's not going to be worn anytime soon, but I'll be able to finish it and block it, and it will be ready for autumn and winter next year. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.